Now, I mentioned earlier that I was inviting a friend into the studio, one of my workmates, Lisa Mansfield, to talk a little bit of an amazing story. We could perhaps call it Testimony Tuesday. Maybe we'll just start doing this every Tuesday. I think that's a great idea. An incredible story, a short part of a big story of how Lisa's mother was actually diagnosed back in September 23 with stage 4 terminal cancer. And last time I saw Lisa with her mum in the building, I think, was about December last year. And as far as I knew, Lisa at that point was actually getting ready to say goodbye to her mum. Lisa, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's just clarify this. Your parents, they live in the UK, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
And so your mum was diagnosed with this cancer. She started feeling unwell. Is that, how was it picked up?
She didn't feel unwell, but she had a lump in the right side of her breast. And and after a few tests, they realized it was cancerous, removed it, and thought everything would be fine. But obviously some of the cells had spread into the lymph nodes, and cancer spread then into her liver and into her bones, her ribs.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so at what point did they, so this was back in September 23, at what point did they say, this is terminal, we can't do anything for you?
I think that would have come a few months after she started having a bit of medication. She wasn't on chemo, but she was on something like chemo. She is 78, or she was 78 when that happened. And so the medication caused her to be very, very sick. But because of the growths that took place in the liver, to great big tumours, they couldn't cut them out. And at that point, they said, look, we can try and treat this, but we can't get rid of it.
I mean, I just can't even imagine how that must have felt for you and your family, right? I mean, to be told that. And
Yes.
for you, all the way over here on the other side of the world, that's pretty huge.
It's massive because you want to be there, but you can't be there. And you've got the 12-hour time difference most of the time. And so even trying to talk to them, it's either early morning here or late at night. And as a daughter, you know, there's only 2 of us children. My brother doesn't live very near to them. And as a daughter, you just think, well, what can we do? And it's a long flight, and it's an expensive flight for anyone. So are we going to see them again? And how would that look like? You know, how can we make that happen?
Yeah. So I remember you saying and being concerned that your mum was on this medication and it was just making her feel so sick, right?
Yes.
So they came to the point where they actually decided to take her off it? Is that what happened?
She was on very strong medication for over a year, 2 different types, and the side effects were terrible, as you'd expect, I guess. And she was in bed. She was bedridden with all sorts of different symptoms. Couldn't, and in the UK, you know, a lot of the houses are 2 levels, and so her bedroom was upstairs, and she couldn't get downstairs. She basically stayed in bed, and they had a television put on the wall in her bedroom so that she could watch tennis and things that she enjoys. And yes, it was very hard for her to function on the medications, but if she didn't take them, then obviously the cancer's going to spread.
Yeah.
So she chose to fight it, and she just said, look, I've got grandchildren, I've got lots to live for. I'm going to go on whatever medication I need to try and combat this.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's fast forward a bit. Her and your father, so Jan and what's your dad's
Tony.
Tony came
Yes.
to New Zealand, and that was really, you felt kind of like they were coming to say goodbye. Is that right?
Definitely they were. So we did not think we were going to see them again. We didn't have the finances to get over there, and they were both very sick. She was very sick. My father's 81, so he wouldn't have done that trip on his own. And basically, we didn't think we were going to see them. So it was a very hard year trying to work out the timeline, I guess. And because she was so unwell, the oncologist just said, look, we're going to give you a break on all the medication, and we're going to take you off for a few weeks and see how you go, and just let your body sort of relax and have a few good days. And it actually worked, and she did actually feel really quite well.
Yeah.
Cancer was still growing. And she actually said, look, you know, I'm feeling all right. Can I go up to Bristol and visit my son? Can we? And the oncologist just said, look, if you can do stuff, do what you can, because your days are numbered.
So she managed to see some friends and family in the UK, and then there was this opportunity to come to New Zealand, and she came. And how many weeks were they here for?
They were here for 69 days.
Okay.
The decision to come was very brave because she wasn't well. She hadn't been sleeping. I mean, she was better than she had been. She was given a special extra set of meds to bring, so that she could come for that length of time and not have to have a scan in between. And they came to say goodbye. They came because they love New Zealand. I've been here 25 years. They've been here many times. And they came really just to see us one last time and their grandchildren. My son living in Australia came over as well for a week because it was a special time. And obviously them going back at the beginning of January was quite heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Very surreal
Yeah.
as well.
So I felt like I didn't see you for a few weeks there. Your parents went back, and I remember thinking, oh, boy, that's so hard. That's probably the last time Lisa's going to see her mother. How intense. Next minute, I don't catch up with you for a few weeks. Our paths don't always cross. And I hear that the situation miraculously changed. Like, what even happened?
I know. While they were here, she seemed quite well. She got her energy back. She'd lost a lot of weight because of the cancer, because of the drugs, and had lost a lot of weight. So was, I think, the sunshine, being with young people, all of those natural things gave her a bounce in her step, but she did feel very well. Went back to England and instantly over the next 4 days after they landed had, blood tests and this, that and the other, at the hospital every day, having scans, and were with bated breath, really worried really about what potentially could happen. Obviously they're Christians. They've had people all over the world praying for healing for her. She was feeling well. Got back to the UK and waited for 2 weeks for the results. And when she went in to get the results, yes, the results showed that the 2 tumours in her liver had disappeared.
Okay, so she's stage 4 cancer, terminal cancer. She's gone off the meds because she's felt unwell. She felt a little better, so she was strong enough with her and your dad to travel to New Zealand. You thought you were saying goodbye to her. She goes back to they go back to England. She has some tests, and they what?
I know.
They tell her that it's gone?
They say there is no sign of the tumours. She still has a little bit of cancer in her liver.
Yes.
But they're sort of, oh, that's fine. We can treat that. I mean, they're taking
but these big tumours.
The 2 tumours that were potentially going to kill her because they couldn't remove the liver and they were growing fast. They grew very fast. They had disappeared, and in her rib, that had a lot of cancer in it, they just saw scar tissue. And she was told, she actually went back for another visit and said, can you just repeat that, please?
Yeah,
and then she phoned her nurse the following week and said, can you just send me all the notes and can you explain? Almost disbelief. I don't know why we should have been surprised, but we were. On a human level, we were very, very shocked. And she was told, come back in 3 months and we'll do another blood test. And she's been put on a very low drug because obviously she still has some cells in her liver which could potentially expand and grow, but they didn't seem that bothered with the size of it, and they felt that the drugs could really help eliminate that.
So, what did the doctors even say? What
I know.
Hello, I'm treating you for cancer. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it's actually gone.
Yeah, I know. The drugs obviously were far more helpful than we imagined, or I don't actually know what the doctors said, but I know they were very, very shocked.
So how's your mother doing now?
She's great. It was a huge emotional roller coaster, obviously, facing death, planning her funeral, saying goodbye to her family, going home, having given up everything. They're very active in lots of different areas of their life. And suddenly being told, oh, you know how you help out at the food bank on a Wednesday? You can go back and do that. You know how you host a home group every week? You can keep doing that if you feel well. And she was feeling well enough. She's still weak. She's lost a lot of weight. She still has a few issues as a result of the drugs that she was on for such a long time.
Yeah.
But she's living a healthy life. And she's feeling good. And she is up and she's making meals now for other people. And
living her life. And as her daughter, how does that feel to you?
Oh, it's taken a long time to process that something like this could happen to my family. And I'm just so humbled and overwhelmed and grateful. It's been an emotional time because, really? Are you sure?
Yeah.
And
especially as you're on the other side of the world, right?
Yeah. So just so grateful to God that he can do miracles of this size. We don't always see it. We don't always believe that he can, but we keep praying anyway.
So good. Lisa, thank you for taking the time today. But just from the bottom of my heart, I am so delighted for you and your family.
Thank you,
It's
Lizzie.
just absolutely wonderful. Praise God.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Lisa.